Hi there, I'm Aussie Villain, and welcome to what I think will just be a quick tutorial, but just dealing with press conferences, interacting with players, things like that. Now, the first golden rule is you've got to remember is that when you're talking, whether it be in a press conference, in the tunnel, whenever it is you're talking to the press, is think about, you're talking to your players. So you want to think about how what you're saying is going to be perceived by them. Now, if we look here, for example, have I spoken to this is the before Manchester United game. Now, obviously, I'm managing Manchester United in this particular save. Have I spoken to the players or the team to remind them how important it is not to become embroiled in the hostilities or the atmosphere of the game? And you can see my response. I constantly remind them to do their jobs. Always, take care of their responsibilities. You always want to make sure that you are reinforcing to the players that it's their responsibility to win. You never want to give them an excuse. You never want to say, for example, preseason always went perfectly. Training has always been fantastic. Don't give them an excuse for a loss. If there's an opposition player missing, that doesn't matter. It's the 22 players on the field that are going to make the difference. You always want to make sure that you are, whatever you say, how your player is hearing it. That's what you got to think of. Do not give them an excuse to lose a game. And you just to sort of prove the point, here's an example. Now, this is before a game against Wolverhampton. Ander Herrera was injured. He's the club captain. Are we going to miss his services? No, we've looked good in training. We're going to be fine. That's the sort of thing you want to say. We ended up winning that game as well. It wasn't the most convincing win, but we did win the game. Never give your players an excuse. You're going to win. The players on the field are good enough, and they're going to win. Another example here, you get this a lot of the time in the tunnel. It's raining outside, how's this going to affect your players? It's not. It's not going to affect us, we can deal with the weather. Not giving your players an excuse to lose. That's one of the biggest thing you've got to remember is you're talking to your players even though you're talking to the press. Now, another way that complacency can set in is talking about winning the league. Now, you can see here, I was asked, a win here against Manchester United go top of the table. Is this something that gets you extra motivated? No, it's not, because we've got the bigger picture. Going top of the table doesn't mean anything. We're building for the long term. You want to set sort of long-term goals that almost you can never reach. Even when you win the league, we've got to work hard to win it next year. Never ever say you're going to win the league. Never sort of give players a reason to relax and think that the job's done. Complacency and avoiding that is the biggest thing you want to be thinking about when you're answering questions in a press conference. Another way that this can sort of manifest itself is the opposition players are listening to you as well. So never bag the opposition team, the opposition manager before or after a game, because all you're doing is you're just motivating them. The opposition manager, he's the nicest guy, you're best friends with him, he's the great guy in football. The way he plays football, it's fantastic. Even if, whether it's tiki-taka, short passing, whether it's long ball direct, it's a beautiful way to play football. You have so much respect for him. Build him up, because what that does is that it might lead to complacency. If you say he's rubbish, his football's rubbish, his team's rubbish, all you're doing is motivating the opposition. You want to avoid that. You want to try and let complacency set in on their side, not on your team's side. Your next game is always your toughest game. If you're playing a League One team in the FA Cup, it's the toughest game you've ever played in your life. You want your players going out there thinking this is not going to be easy. And you've got the way that you can get that across to them outside of the team talk, before you even get into the team talk, is in the press conference. Your next game, no matter who it's against, is the toughest game your players have ever faced in their life. Now, that doesn't mean bagging your team and not congratulating them when they do well. You can see here, we played really, really well in the Champions League game against Valencia. And it says, I was asked in the press conference, you must be pleased with that result, but how poor were Valencia? They weren't poor. My team was fantastic. Give them a little bit of praise. You don't want to talk them down all the time, or else you will get them offside. When they do well, praise them. Say that no, the other team wasn't poor. This is after the game. It doesn't matter now. You've got your 3 points. They weren't poor. We were fantastic. We made them look poor. Don't be afraid to build your team up. Just do it in the right way, and usually after the fact, not before the fact. And here's another example, Marcus Rashford. He could not hit a barn door for me. He scored a goal, and I was asked in the press conference, he finally ended his goal drought. How pleased are you for him? And I said, it was a great moment for Marcus, and I'm sure he'll go on a great run of goal-scoring form now, because just what you want to build him up. He's going to go on a great run of form. There's another question where you'll get asked, so-and-so played really, really well today. And you say, yes, and I expect to see more of the same. You're praising them, but, at the same time, this is what I expect from them. They're going to need to keep doing this in the future. It's, building up your players at the right time, as I said. Don't do it before the game, because that gets complacency. Do it after the game, and that way you develop a relationship with them as well. Now, the last thing I wanted to sort of touch on this tutorial is talking to players or interacting with players. Now, the biggest thing that you need to remember here is to pick your battles, because the last thing you need is to get a player offside and then it can actually go through the whole dressing room. Just because they've annoyed you and you've sort of said the wrong thing. Now, I'm going to use Marcus Rashford as an example here because I've had a bit of a problem with Marcus Rashford, as I just said. He could not score to save himself. Now, as you can see here, I had a word to him. He came, what can I do for you, boss? You have to start playing a high standard if you want to be in the first team. And he said, I don't want to sit on the bench. I'll work harder for my place. Fair enough. I thought, wonderful. We'll give him another chance in the first team. Went out there, you squandered a lot of chances. He couldn't hit a barn door. Squandered a lot of chances out there. You need to put the ball in the net if you want to keep playing. He thinks that's unfair. He didn't miss chances. He didn't get enough of them. So I just said, this meeting's run its course. I'll see you later. I could have pushed it, and what I probably would have ended up with is a really, really annoyed, pissed off Marcus Rashford. And that, given that he's a sort of a big name in the dressing room, that could have actually been big problems for me. But as I said, just pick your battles. It's fine. All right. We'll let this one go. Don't get into arguments with everybody all the time. If it's someone that's continually annoying you and they're not playing well and you really don't care because you want to transfer list them anyway, then yeah, have a go at them, get aggressive, assertive with them, and if it goes wrong, then you can just ship them out because that's what you kind of were going to do anyway. But if it's someone like Rashford, young player, that you do actually want to keep at the club, they're just having a bit of a bad patch, pick your battles. Don't get them offside just for the sake of getting them offside, because once you've got them offside and they won't talk to you, it's very, very difficult. It takes a long time to get them back. But yeah, so that's. I hope that you found this helpful, guys. That was sort of my tutorial for press conferences and interacting with players. If you have found it helpful, do hit the like button, help other people find it as well, and make sure you subscribe for future tutorials. There's going to be a whole load of them going up, so you don't want to miss that. And hit the bell so you get notified when they come up as well. But that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.